Hello, everybody. This is Jake Stenziano, host of the Wheelbarrow Profits Podcast, here with my co-host, the multifamily mentor, the coach, the chef, the father of six, the best-selling author, the G-Daddy, Gino Barbaro. Gino, how's it going?
Mr. Stenziano, did the Miracle Morning with two of my kids today. Started it this week. Everyone's got to get on the Miracle Morning, especially entrepreneur. We've got a great entrepreneur on the show today. I'm sure he's got his variation of it. I'm ready to go, Jake. How about you?
I had my espresso. I had my almonds. I had my woo time. I'm with you, baby. Today's guest is Andy Hnilo. Andy is an entrepreneur who's turned his personal tragedy into one of the fastest growing businesses in the world. This sounds like classic G-Daddy, taking what the market gives you, right? But Andy had a choice. He could become the victim or fight. He chose the latter. So without further ado, Andy, welcome to the show.
Andy.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
It's our pleasure. So let's get into the story. Tell us about your story and how you started your business.
So March 20th, 2011, I was hit by a westbound heading SUV and then hit into the eastbound lane and then run over by a Land Rover. Both cars pulled over. I lost consciousness after the first point of impact, and luckily I don't remember too much of it. And I just woke up at Cedars-Sinai ICU, and it was a compound fracture, so the bottom of my chin was sticking through the bottom of my mouth, and I had 7 broken ribs, a collapsed lung. I was just really banged up, and from that point on, once I made it home eventually after we had the surgery, 2 titanium plates inserted, one up top and then one beneath just to, help the bone grow back. I just took it upon myself I had been into skincare before, but, they say necessity is the mother of invention. And I didn't want to use the creams and serums that my surgeons were recommending that I use to accelerate the healing of my scars and abrasions. And I created my own step by step. I created this clay mask, which is a blend of 4 different clays: colostrum, vitamin C, freshwater pearl powder, organic kelp powder, and American ginseng. And all of this took a lot of time to formulate, but I never had an intention to create a business or a product out of this. I really wanted to just get back on my feet and get my zest back and look, how I used to look. And I had a lot of swelling, a lot of scarring, and a lot of abrasions all over my, from head to toe. But I just had nothing but time, and I moved everything out of my bedroom into my living room, made my back bedroom my little lab, so to speak, and I started just doing my research and going to work. There's so much information out there available to us, and I used myself as my own biggest science experiment to get, just to see what worked and what didn't. And what I finally came up with years down the road is something that's, undeniably effective, I believe, and it's like food. It's like, the whole premise of Alitura is feeding, nourishing. Your skin's your largest organ, so you want to treat it like another mouth, essentially.
So what were you doing before the accident as far as occupation, job? What were you in?
Well, I was in the entertainment industry. I was an actor and a model, but it wasn't my passion. And I was 30 years old, just kind of underachieving. I went to college and I had a degree. And I was a baseball player, came down here. I was going to continue to play, but I had a movie fall into my lap that my buddy was auditioning for, who I was living with at the time. And I was running lines with him, which means like I'm playing the character opposite of him. And it was a baseball film. And he had never played since, Little League, but he just figured he could wing it. And so I was just going back with him. And, sometimes when you don't really care too much, you do your best. And he's like, dude, this character is you to a T. And I'm like, I kind of feel the same way. And so he got me a read with that director, which never happens when you don't have an agent or a manager, but he did. I got another call back at screen test, and by this time my buddy was out of the running for it, and I ended up booking that role. I filmed for about a little over a month out here. I got representation. I gave up baseball, and yeah, the rest is history. I love doing it, but the auditions were like homework for me. You got to put in the work if you want to see the results, and I did, but I just put in the minimum amount of work and with the acting and modeling industry. But right now I'm right where I'm supposed to be,
So where did you think you were going to do with the acting and modeling? You saw that at that time at 30 years old, you weren't going to do that. Did you see yourself becoming an entrepreneur, going into business, or you just, as they say, stuck or floundering at that time?
Well, I had always, it was staring at me in the face since I was 18, 19 years old. When I was in college and an athlete, I just was very, a big passion of mine was health, nutrition, supplements, diet, skincare, all of that. It's been looking at me, and it's so funny. Like, you never realize sometimes, like, the things you're most passionate about. And in this case, how I make my living, and I have a business and things like that. But I never thought about it until it's, just rocked me right into it. Literally getting hit by the cars and just locking me right into my purpose is, yeah, I mean, but the acting and modeling was going well, and I was working, and I enjoyed the time on set, but I didn't like the work that I like, the research and development that I put into my products. There's nothing else I'd rather be doing. I do it. They say like pay attention to the things that you do when nobody's watching and things like that, and just like I'm obsessed with this. So yeah, but I never imagined this. I mean, I thought acting and modeling would be the thing, but I was actually at the same time I was searching for what I wanted to do. You know.
Mm-hmm. So if I'm hearing correctly, it sounds like you were comfortable enough being not uncomfortable. You weren't that uncomfortable yet. You were just, you're in the gray zone where a lot of people are, the majority of our listeners are, where they haven't found their passion. And if they have, they're not really motivated to do something. How did you end up starting the business from this? You were an alchemist in your back bedroom. I mean, who did you surround yourself with? Give me the steps on how you actually created the business plan and put it into motion.
Sure. So see, after the accident, a few of my friends would come by and they drop little supplements or drinks off to me because my jaw was wired shut. I couldn't eat. And just, but from the outside, I had been doing this mask every day just to try to accelerate the circulation to the surface of the skin and just get the swelling down. In doing that, the abrasions were gone and scarring had started to heal pretty quickly. I mean, this is a couple weeks after, so it was pretty quick. And the swelling had gone down. And so people were like, well, what'd you do to your skin? And I'm like, it was hard to admit, but I'm like, I made this mask. And I'm like, this mask. And I'm like, yeah, come over. My friends and I want to try it. So like one little thing of inkling of momentum led to just word of mouth all around LA. Well, I mean, a lot of actors, a lot of their friends, and then they just started telling their friends about this mask. And I'd go around, yeah, this little backpack and my little bottle of apple cider vinegar and essential oils, and I would mix it up. And all I wanted was some feedback because I knew I had something, but really with no degree, I didn't know how it worked. And they that was my beta testing though for about a year. And then so what I would do is I would post little pictures before and afters of like the nice rosy. I mean, you can see right now I just did one. It's like you're a little flushed for a half hour, 45 minutes, but it feels great. And it was undeniably effective in my eyes, but I needed some feedback. And so I toned down the kelp powder because it was a little earthy, and I toned down the ascorbic acid because it was very stimulating. But that beta testing is what led me to kind of thinking I had something. And luckily, one of my friends would post it on Facebook before and afters and kind of just show my little thing. It was like my own little creative outlet. And so a friend of mine had a med spa in San Diego, and she was like, how would you come down here and I want to see the mask you're talking about. So she tried it out herself, and she loved it. And then she tried it out on some trusted customers, and they loved it. And so they brought it on board they called it this nutrient dense mask. I didn't have a website or anything. And I was making this by hand out of my apartment at the time. And so just to charge something or get people to charge something that I made out of my apartment, I needed that little victory, especially that early on, and just to show myself that I had something, and just a little creative outlet that I made from scratch myself based on my own research. And so getting that professional victory of getting someone to pay you for something that you created was really cool for me. And just to get that momentum going was enough to kind of realize that, hey, look, if a med spa can take this on board, I may have something here. And so that momentum in any industry is just sometimes all you need to move forward.
Well, I like to hear about obstacles. What obstacles did you face early on before you get into business building and all that? What were mental obstacles, limiting beliefs? Because we've had a lot of limiting beliefs, Jake and I. We're having one right now about a property. So I want to hear what obstacles you're facing.
Well, I got told no a lot by estheticians operating just all around Los Angeles. It's just, they were really sweet, but they politely said no several times. And then I was like, it just never got me down because I just knew how it affected me. And luckily, Mary from Alvarado Skin Institute in San Diego gave me a chance. And that one thing, imagine if I had just given up after that. I mean, I don't know if I would be here right now, but the no's were kind of like, oh man, but they're disappointing. But it's like just staying relentless in your pursuit of something that you think that you have. It's just kind of what separates, either making it or not making it with a lot of in any industry, right?
Mm-hmm. So then you start out with the first product. Walk me through the scalability of the business. How'd you start scaling the business? How'd you start getting into website? And we're talking about SSLs and URLs and all that kind of stuff. How did you actually envision the business going?
Oh man. So I've been using a product called Bulletproof Coffee and using the supplements from Bulletproof. And I just love Dave's attention to detail on ingredients. He's a little obsessed, just like me, with I mean, we'll just remove all the impurities and the bad things and the fillers and anything and just break down. Like, our sourcing is everything. It's a way to stand out. Like, it's really, when you have that little obsessed detail with your sourcing of ingredients, you see it in others, and it's like you can geek out on these conversations that just, it sounds Greek to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it turns out we're very aligned in that aspect, but I troubleshooted Dave's email address based on the contact email on his website. And so his name's Dave Asprey, so I would go d.asprey, dave.asprey, David at Bulletproof, and one of them I just copy-pasted the same email, sent before and after pictures, before me in the ICU, and then after in like a magazine that I'd done after the accident, when, hey man, like, thanks so much for, your attention to detail with ingredients. I would love to work, I was trying to get in with Bulletproof and maybe work for them. And so they brought me on. One of the emails went through. We had a conference call in front of my mom. It was hilarious. I was up in Palo Alto kind of visiting, and they brought me on board as an ambassador for the company. And I just all I had to do was just take pictures. I got the product for free, Bulletproof's products, and just like, hey, love the products here. And it was all about my recovery and how nutrition sped up, how their nutrition sped up my recovery. But so they brought me on a podcast just like this, and towards the end, it was a video podcast, and he's like, "What'd you do for your skin?" Like, I'm sure my audience would like to know what you did for your skin. It was hard to admit, but I was wearing this mask every day. But he had the #1 podcast. It's still, I think, the top-rated podcast on health and nutrition on iTunes. I mean, millions of downloads. And so I didn't have a website or anything or a name, and I just went, yeah, if anybody out there wants to try it, contact me. I think I gave out my personal email address, and once it aired, I mean, the whole new 24. Every time I refresh my Yahoo browser, it was people like saying really nice things and wanting to try the product. And I didn't have enough to scale up on this. And I had to come up with a PayPal account, Andy Hnilo 42 at Yahoo. And it's like people would just PayPal me money. I had to come up with pricing, $35 free shipping just sounded good. But when you're shipping to Sweden and it's $22 shipping, and it's a very expensive product to make, I was losing money, but I didn't even know. I didn't care. And Dave got a very similar response as well. And so when he and I met up, and he partnered up, he invested in the brand, and he scaled up, or he helped me scale up. He took it on his side as his first Bulletproof approved skincare product, and then the rest is, man. I mean, it was just exhilarating. I mean, it was just I remember when it launched that weekend I can't even describe. We had friends coming over to my apartment. We had a neighbor across the street in their garage. She let me borrow her garage. We had this little assembly line, and me and my best friends just getting together and realizing I had something, packaging products and hand labeling them. And then from that point on, we realized we really needed to do this thing the right way and get it done, get it manufactured correctly. And then, but the response, the good thing is the collective response of the product was very encouraging, and we knew we had something. And that led to being able to bootstrap it, so to speak, in our next product, the moisturizer, and then the night cream, and then the serum, and then the body lotion, and then we have 11 SKUs now, working on 14 by the end of 2017, and we're in 74 countries now. And it's I don't stop. I love this, and I just want to keep it going. You know?
So how long was that moment from the March 2011 accident? How long did it take you to get to that point?
Well, we launched June 26, 2014. So there was yes, and it was there was a couple years of beta testing and getting back in the modeling industry. I booked a Copper Tone commercial. I booked an Oakley global campaign, which helped me fund a little bit of this and take care of bills and get out of like a nightlife gig of bartending and working doors at nightclubs and stuff like that, and where I was able to focus on my true passion, which was health, nutrition, and ultimately my skincare line. But yeah, it took a while to, just to get it to a point where you're able to come forward and go forward with your passion of what you believe you have,
Well, so what's the hardest part of the business?
The hardest part right now for me was delegating. For over 2 years, it was all me. So I self-fulfilled, I manufactured, I did all the research and development. I hand-packed orders. I wrote out the to and from labels. I mean, all of that. It's not the best, use of our time, right, as business owners. But
what's that called, Jake?
I'm a mentality. No, we've been through. We scaled up as well. And anytime someone does that, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do everything. We call it the I'm a mentality. So it just popped into my head, man. Sorry about that.
That's exactly what it is. But it's our baby, though, and it's so difficult to pass it on. And someone messes up some little detail that just comes naturally to us because it's our baby, and it reflects on your brand. It's like, so like that started to happen. I'm like, you know what? That never happens with me. So I'm just going to keep doing it. Like there's nothing. I love the blue collar aspect of getting up. And I had 5:30 every day, besides Sunday, obviously, with the post office, to get there, package orders. And it's like, I have something. And it's like, I didn't care because I had something to do every day. I had a job, and it was me. I was my boss, and I just loved it. And so, but the thing is, it's not, you got to delegate that to someone else.
That's part of scale. That's the hard thing, is when you know you're doing it right and scaling up. And what's the famous one where the guy talks about work on your business, not in it? I mean, that's the Gerber. That's classic
Michael
Gerber,
yeah.
right? I don't know if you've read that or not, but that's classic Gerber right there. So.
Well, you know what it is also? I was brainwashed into this also. I had an immigrant parent, and you got to be at the business. You got to die at the business. And someone told me, if you can get somebody to do 80% of what you can do, and you're paying them and you're not having to do it, that's a really good trade-off, right? So you don't expect everyone to do anything as well as you, but hey, if they can do it 80% as great as you.
Systems come in, right, Gino? And then you know, just you got to do that. So.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. What do you enjoy most about the business?
And just not having the huge corporate overhead so I can make my dream products. I can take a hit on margin. I mean, sometimes, you go forward with manufacturers and they kind of, are you sure? And I'm like, yes. I mean, with my night cream, 22 different sources on 31 ingredients, that just doesn't happen as far as, just the grass-fed colostrum. But being able to use that in your marketing, I do it because it's like, it just comes natural to me. But there are differentiators and way you stand out by not using certain ingredients. And as we talked about earlier, certain artificial fragrances, colors, fillers, government-recognized carcinogens in your products. And being able to pinpoint and show what separates yours from others, it's fun for me because I very rarely find any brands that do that these days. And it's me and 5 employees right now, and I don't have the huge corporate overhead with thousands of salaries to pay, and I'm able to make my dream products and let the customers kind of take from there. I mean, I got that from Jeff Bezos years ago on 60 Minutes. I was watching with my family. He said, I'll take a hit on margin to gain that customer trust, knowing that Amazon's the only place that they'll go to for this, that, and the other. And I really want to be that brand, that standalone brand where it's like, oh, it's Alature. Like, that's it. I mean, it's just creating, in my eyes, the best ingredient decks possible. And that's what makes me feel good,
What else have you done to create the brand? I mean, basically, I see the packaging. I like the packaging. I like the logo itself, the images. What else do you do to promote it as far as social media? What other stuff are you doing to grow your brand?
So right now we're diving into Facebook ads, Instagram ads. We're landing pages, turning up the traffic to those landing pages, finding different demographics, knowing your customer database, your target customer. And then going from that, I mean, SEO, e-commerce has been our big thing right now. As far as retail and getting into stores, it's important, and I want to optimize every part of the business, right? But just online is everything. When you think about it, I order everything outside of perishables from Amazon, online, you name it. And it turns out, obviously I'm not alone. I think the last 2016 was the first year where brick and mortar and retail and e-commerce, I believe, were neck and neck, if not maybe a little bit. It's just so I think it's going towards the e-commerce in that direction. So optimizing the online presence has been everything. Podcasts, it's free marketing, and I love doing it. It's just like a stroll down memory lane to how I built my business, and it keeps me hungry. I love doing this, and who knows, maybe
so. How do you keep your business? Because we have the same problem too, not becoming a commodity. Because the multifamily space can be a 2-bedrooms rented for $600, guy down the street's renting for $600. One of the ways we do it is by customer service or providing superior amenities. How do you do it in your business? Because like my wife went on and goes, stuff's expensive. I'm not gonna lie to you. But it has to be expensive because the ingredients are amazing. So what do you do to not make your business a commodity and just go on price instead of taking a look at, let's say, here, there's a value in the product?
And what we do is we really have to hit home on the handcrafted curator side of things, where we're not getting predetermined ingredient decks from scratch, documenting the whole process of me going into the labs and making the fragrance in front of the other chemists. It's just really showing what our difference in ingredients and hitting home on the whole process. And then ultimately living off our reviews, perfecting what we can perfect, things like customer service. We don't have a business without a customer, right? And so that is hitting home and just perfecting the whole customer experience through shipping, through if anything gets, is wrong in that, if somebody doesn't get it, if an item shows up broken, we give it, just no questions asked, get them another one immediately, and just ultimately following up with them, but really just making them, it's me, it's my team, but just, it's very personal to us, and just showing them it's a way to stand out. It's not just a business. It's just, this is absolutely, it's our baby, and it has to be that way. So does that answer your question?
It does. No, it does. I wanted to transition into this because I think you probably speak well to this. What are the benefits today? Because I hear a lot of people today saying it's tough to do this, it's tough to do that. And if you go on Google, you can get a 4-year college degree online, basically. You don't have to, it's amazing what you can find online. What are the benefits of building a business today? What has helped you today as far as tools online, as far as, doing research, and as far as building your brand, as far as videoing and getting on these podcasts? What have you seen that has really helped you out in the last few years about building your business in this type of economy?
It's asking questions to successful people in a similar in a similar industry. People respond to passion. So if you truly reach out and are hungry, they'll help you out. Dave Asprey has been such a big, my first partner in Alitura has been such a big help, because I just at that pound the pavement mentality, and I'm hungry, and I love this. I will go, to no lengths to no end as far as just formulating and constructing my products. And that's just asking questions to people in a similar industry, physical product base, what worked for them, what didn't work, and then just being a sponge. It's just so many people think they have it figured out, and then just admitting humbly that you don't. People want to help ultimately, especially people who are, have been in that similar industry and had that pound the pavement mentality and are hungry. They respond to that, and that's what's really helped me out. And trial and error, finding out things that didn't work. Hiring certain, marketing specialists that reach out to us, and we've had some losses on that aspect with creating landing pages that just didn't convert, and then learning from that. And then, hiring people that really, it's like the 100% me, and then if Rex, my assistant, if he's 80%, which he is, those people are gold to us, and just keeping and hiring people that are very similar from that aspect is so important. And just reaching out to people. Success leaves clues. Just reaching out to people that have done the same thing and built things from scratch. It reminds them of how they started, and a lot of the time they'll help you out.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Do you believe you truly have, you really have to be passionate about something to be successful? Do you think people need to have that passion?
So if I'm not, I really don't. And I believe, so I can't believe that, but it's true from an aspect of, if you get how business works and margin, profit, all that, I'm not passionate about, I love food, but say wherever I go, we crunch numbers and we crunch costs and profit margins, all of that. Clothing, the jeans I buy, and I'm like, I guarantee it costs them $4 to make this, and they're selling it for $175.
Sounds like dress jeans, man. Those are some fancy jeans, man.
Jake, it's LA, Jake, bro.
What are you rocking for jeans, man? What are you wearing for jeans? Those aren't American Eagles.
It's Armani's, bro. Come on.
So, yeah, 7 of diamonds, 7 of mankind, whatever it is. But it's like, man, but I bought them, and so it's just little thing. It's always in my head, crunching numbers, wondering what. Just margins and things like that. I'm not necessarily passionate about certain things, but I love questioning certain things. And ultimately I love crunching numbers, and just in my head, it's just something I've always really liked, actually, even before I was in business. So if I go out to a restaurant, I'm always wondering what cost was, what their raw goods cost is, and then how they are able to charge, 35 for, but things like that. So I'm not necessarily passionate about certain things, but I think that I could be successful in certain industries that I'm not necessarily as obsessed or passionate about with Alitura. But I am starting to realize right now, just in this case, I have people are reaching out, wanting to partner up in different avenues and different atmospheres and different businesses. And I'm like, I right now at this point, I don't want to leave Alitura. I'm laser focused on one thing, and that's my brand and my baby ultimately. So that, and it's all I think about. So I think having that little obsessive mentality and what I believe is extreme passion towards my brand is what's led it to its success. So it's kind of 50-50. I don't really think you need it, but I think if you want to be as good as you can, you have to be. But there are ways to get around it, and if you just get how business works. And I'm sure, do you feel the same way?
I do. Well, you need to have that laser focus. Obviously, if you become successful, it's just like investing in real estate. Well, you have to be laser focused on a specific niche, whether you're going to buy and hold, or you're going to fix and flip. Then you have to be even more specific. Are you going to buy multifamily properties? You're going to buy single family homes? And then be even more specific. Well, you're going to buy in LA, you're going to buy in Tennessee. So the more that people can focus, you can't hit a target unless you focus, right? And the problem is that people are focusing and chasing too many rabbits. Brendan Burchard says, dig deep. Right? You dig deep first, and then you can go wide. So I think the person, especially the beginning entrepreneur, Jake and I are beginning entrepreneurs. We've only been doing this for 5 or 6 years. So I still consider myself a neophyte. So I think the longer you get to do this and the more you can dig deep, then that'll give you the ability to go into other avenues. But until you really, focus and really become successful in one area, and it's all about your self-concept. The more you're self-aware and the more you feel good about yourself, you're going to become successful in other avenues. So become really good at what you're doing, and then I give you the permission to branch out, right, Jake?
Man, I'm not giving people permission to do anything.
I'm giving you permission. I'm giving you the permission, bro.
That's a really good point. I'm very new to this as well, and I just want to stay locked in on this. And who knows, down the road, maybe branching to other avenues that just intrigue me. But yeah, I definitely agree with that. I didn't know you do, so 5 years for you as well.
Yeah, we started in 2013. We started looking back in 2011, 2012, and just like every other entrepreneur, we couldn't find a deal. We didn't have the credibility, and like you said, we took a chance. And we met a broker through a relationship, and we got it together. We did our first deal. The momentum takes over. You buy your second deal. Then by the time the third deal comes, you've got some kind of business plan and some kind of idea what you're doing. You're able to generate interest. You get another partner. All of a sudden, you're looking at 250 units. You're like, how did that happen? And that's what happens on the entrepreneurs. And obviously, you need to be a little lucky. We had a really good market going on, but I think the harder you work, the luckier you get, and that's what happened with us. And you have to, I guess, go with that model and that mantra, correct?
Absolutely, and I did. I said last weekend, I definitely did get lucky. If one of those emails doesn't go through, I'm not really sure who would take a chance on me. I didn't use the story, but I told my story, a true story about how I just self-manufactured a product just out of necessity to heal my own injuries. And luckily, I thought, but it didn't get me. This is before with those estheticians who said no, they loved the story, but the product wasn't there just yet. Luckily, I just kept fine-tuning it. And Dave actually hired a product manager for me who worked with Sephora, and just to evaluate my product before he took it on his site. And she gave the green light. But I can't imagine if it didn't happen from there. I'm sure I would have kept pounding the pavement and hopefully found someone. But I did get a little lucky. But it is because I'd like to think that it was just because of the work that went into it and the truth. Just the ultimate passion and just the intentions behind it.
That's right. Before we jump into the personal development and the short answer questions, I just want to ask you, what's new on the horizon for you? What as far as creating more products, as far as building the business, going to more countries, and that kind of stuff? What else you got on the horizon?
Right. So I want to expand distribution. We are in 74 countries, but say Japan, we've only had like 4 or 5 orders out of there. Southeast Asia in general is so big on skincare, and with our Pearl cleanser, we use a lot of pearl powder in our mask as well. It is. The geishas have been using it for centuries to mitigate sunspots and really even out the skin tone. It's an amazing ingredient. I want to really hit home on Southeast Asia and expand on. Hey, listen, it's an ingredient that isn't really heard about too much in products these days, but I kind of threw a little, I was just testing it out because I was taking it internally, and it turns out to be one of our central ingredients in products. So I'd love to expand reach and hammer home on our ingredients and expand distribution. We have 3 more SKUs coming out by the end of the year. We have an organic fragrance that's unisex that, it's just perfect. And there's just so we're going to be releasing serum, scrub, and fragrance by the end of the year. And we just released our Pearl cleanser, which it's going very well. And we're just going to keep pounding the pavement and just as they come to me. I think we're done after those with products. Now it's time to turn up sales and marketing. I think I'm exploring the options. I just met with Dave in Canada last Friday and just sat down and took notes and just was a sponge for hours. And I think we may or may not raise funding just to hire a guru in sales and marketing. And that's the next step. And right now, I think we have a nice product, a full spectrum product profile from start to finish a collection, so to speak. And so we're good on products. Now it's time to invest in someone who's just, that's their thing, sales, marketing, and turning up and expanding reach all around the globe.
So let me ask you one more question before I hand it over to Jake. What does your day look like? I mean, what is your schedule? I mean, what are you focusing on as far as actions? You looking to generate revenue? You looking to build a brand? Because every entrepreneur, they're basically successful by where they focus their time on. What do you like for not focusing your time on? What would you tell, I guess, the burgeoning entrepreneur? What should they be focusing on?
So let's see. I would, if you're, in my case, a physical product, just focusing on something, just excellence. I saw this on Self-Made Man podcast. I did a little research before I went on that and saw an entrepreneur. I think it's Jeff Hoffman, very successful entrepreneur. And he just said, he used this phrase. He just said, he focuses on excellence, not exit strategy. So it's like with the ingredients, whatever it is, just focus on excellence. In my case, with ingredients, whatever you can control with a product, with a business, just customer service, focus on that, and then build a product that hopefully stands out. And you have a niche, in my case, which the men's, it's a unisex skincare line, but people told me to go, the white and teal route, and this is, black on silver. I just had this goal of Hugo Boss, Kenneth Cole, Lexus. I wanted this sleek finish and just following your heart, but focusing on excellence and just perfecting the things that you can control and perfect. And then, I would say focusing on my strengths and what I love to do, getting the word out naturally through podcasts has been a huge thing for me. I let the day-to-day operations, I let my team take care of that. And we're done we just finished the R&D perspective. So up until now, it's been locked in on my Pro Cleanser that we just released last Tuesday. And that took 54 revisions. It was almost a year of formulation. I had to go down to the lab and actually, because we were on the same page with doing it through emails. I just actually had to do it myself at the lab. But I would just say right now I'm done with, formulating products and on research and development. And now it's a good question, because now I need to dig deep and figure out what the next steps are that I can do. We just hired a publicist, so we're going on a press tour in New York. I'm going to be meeting face to face with editors, news outlets, and just getting the story out there and just showing them hopefully what separates our company from others, and that's been our biggest step right now. It's we're going in a month 2. September 1st will be our second month of having a publicist. So that's our next step, and just kind of letting her to show us the way to get the word out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Before the show, we were talking about the Miracle Morning. What is a habit that you do on a daily or weekly basis that has, helped you along the way or led to your success?
Right. So I'm big on routine, discipline. So as soon as I wake up, I do push-ups to failure, which I read this in Men's Health magazine. It just helps increase energy throughout the day. It's kind of like a primal instinct. Like as soon as you wake up, almost as soon as you open your eyes, just going down and doing something to failure. I do push-ups. Would say if it's air squats or jumping jacks, I've just heard it really helps with energy throughout the day. And so I go into the kitchen. I make this really nutrient-dense herbal tonic to help just kind of cleanse the system, reduce inflammation. And
Does it have gin in it?
What's that?
Does it have gin in it, or no gin? No gin. Okay, sorry. Carry on.
No gin. Ayurvedic herbs and adaptogenic herbs, amino acids, and it feels good. I let that sink in, and I sometimes if it's my day to put on a clay mask, I do it every other day, but I just hang upside down in this inversion table, which after my accident, I was really kind of bunched up and banged up, so just to help lengthen out and get that circulation on my spine, I'm inverted for about 10 minutes, and I'm letting that tonic just kind of just hit the system and get that circulation going from head to toe. And then I'll go into the kitchen once that's done. I'll make my coffee, but I do that same routine 95% of my days. If I'm traveling or whatever, obviously I can't do it. But yeah, I stick to a routine, and I just really think routine, discipline, that's all rewarded. And it just keeps that, from the most successful people that I've, paid attention to and admired and listened to, there's always some type of routine. Do you guys agree?
I totally agree.
I'm ridiculous when it comes to routine. We had Blair Singer on, one of the Rich Dad advisors, the other day, and he said, do what you're supposed to be doing when you're supposed to be doing it, whether you like it or not. Man, that really stuck with me. That was one of the quotes in the show that has really stuck with me. I thought that was great in terms of discipline.
Yeah. Right. No, that's great. The obstacle is the way. Yeah, it's like I heard that one too from a buddy of mine. The obstacle is the way. Whether you like to do it or not, do it. Like if you don't want to do it, that's when you should do it. There's something better about that, or there's something that makes you feel better about just going against what you want to do and just getting it done. Once it's done, it's like, all right, it's like something fulfilling that you went against the comfortable way and the easy way, and you just kind of went. It's because I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable. Just my teeth clanging into each other, the fact that this side of my face is a little numb years later, I have nothing to complain about. So I like going against the grain and kind of challenging myself, and it just makes you feel better throughout the day, knowing you didn't, give in to comfort,
What's the biggest mistake you've made in your business so far?
I would say not delegating for years. I should have found someone. Now that also helped me build what I believe under my obsession with the products and the timely shipping, things like that. I think in the initial, couple of years, that's actually important. But I'd lost a lot of money waiting in line at the post office and not getting a shipping company. The shipping rates, things like that, I would save $1, $2, and definitely on international orders, at least $3 or $4. And then the time I spent waiting in line at the post office Monday through Saturday, that we can't get that back. So I lost a lot of money. But then again, it's one of those things
you don't know what you don't know, though.
What's that? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I did ask, and Dave told me, he's like, you got to delegate that. That's not the best use of your time. You got to find someone. But, it's like someone doesn't pack it right, and we use glass bottles and on a lot of our products, and things would break, or, they wouldn't sign the customs paperwork and do it correctly. It would get shipped back. Now you're irritating a customer and potentially losing one. Our customers, everything does. So that would probably be my biggest error, but I wouldn't really take it back because I really like doing it. And it was just having something that initial stage. It was just so exciting for me, but we did lose a lot of money when you think about it. Not only the high amount of orders, and then you do the math on that, but also the time that we, as entrepreneurs, it's very valuable. And
Man,
Jake, that's called
straight up
from
IMA, Gino. That's more.
Yeah,
IMA,
that's
right?
called that's Michael Gerber's doing and being, and that's like the technician aspect of it, of the entrepreneur. Where a lot of guys who are amazing carpenters, they can't be businessmen because they're so focused on the day-to-day operations, and they lose themselves in the minutia that they're working, in the business, not on the business. So I really think most people fall into that trap, and not only just you, Jake, and myself. I think the majority of people fall into that trap, and I think the other trap that people fall into is ultimately businesses income over expenses. That's really what it comes down to. I had a restaurant for 20 years, and our partner takes over a restaurant, and he can analyze food costs, wages, and all that. And I'm like, wow. I had a good grasp on it, but you're only thinking about the food aspect of it, and you're not considering your balance sheet and income statement. I think that's where a lot of us make mistakes on it, especially underwriting deals in multifamily. It's really about income over expenses. That's what it comes down to. So, just my 2 cents.
Right, and that's definitely. We didn't have the huge overhead. I mean, this all started out of an apartment, and it's just income over expenses. You're absolutely right with that. It's a good margin product. But it was only me, so we didn't have the big labor aspect side of things. And so that's how we were able to build and generate revenue and staying cash positive and ultimately growing at 120 to 140%. And hopefully this year we'll get up to 200%.
That's great.
But
any book recommendations, any business books or books that have just benefited or had a positive impact on your life that you want to share?
Right. Let's see. Headstrong by Dave Asprey. It's focusing on that discipline, that will, that like inner just instinct of just building. I mean, he hits on it from so many different levels from diet, nutrition, how that affects performance, from willpower, how that affects performance, discipline, work ethic. It's just something. Headstrong by Dave Asprey. Very good book. Just if you're, from a motivational aspect, willpower, work ethic. I mean, he just hits it on so many different things. That's something that's really helped me and my success. Let me see. I'm trying to think what else. That's your
jam right there. That's your one.
Yeah, that's my go-to. Yeah, for sure right now. How about you guys?
Well, I mean, everyone on the show, the majority of people on the show, the majority of the people on the show like Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that's a great book for entrepreneurs who are shifting. Right now, I'm reading Miracle Morning. I think it's probably very similar to Headstrong. I recommend everyone to get that because it's just amazing what it's done for me the last couple of days.
Give another shout out to our FBI dude.
Never Split the Difference. I think you should read that book. It's by Chris Voss. I'm actually going to do a book review on it, and it is an amazing. You never split the difference, right? And it's never a win-win situation. Let me give you a quick example, guys, because this was amazing to me. It really blew my mind. You're going out to dinner. Your wife, you say, hey, well, honey, I want black shoes. The wife says, no, I want brown shoes. So the average person says, let's get a win-win. I'll wear one black shoe, one brown shoe. Who won, really? I mean, that's the win-win situation that people are talking about, or settling, right? So, I mean, we always go for that win-win, and people are uncomfortable. They want to split the difference and say, hey, I didn't win, I didn't lose, I bargained or whatever. That's not the way we do negotiation.
And everyone ends up with dog crap at that point, a brown and a black shoe. It's like
yeah, and no one's really fulfilled or satisfied. So, I mean, really, I would really go for that book and really read the book because it'll clear up your mind about how really negotiations should really take place. I mean, he was an FBI negotiator, and he was hostage negotiator. He worked for the FBI. So what's amazing about it is he talks about a lot of techniques, and it's a lot about building rapport with people, really listening to people, because a lot of us are always wanting to speak, and we don't really listen, and that's the most amazing thing. Find out what they want, right, bro? Find out what they want. I like to speak, but I'm just saying I love it. I mean, I can keep going on about books, but just take a look at those two books.
What was it last with the hostage negotiator? What was it? It was
Never Split the Difference, and it's by Chris Voss.
BOSS?
Yep.
Andy, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
So I'm on social media on at Andy Hnilo. My last name is Hnilo. So that's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm also at Alitura. That's ALITURA, NATURALS. And that's alituraNaturals.com. Alitura Naturals at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And yeah, I mean, I would also like to offer a discount code to you and whoever would like to try the products. And if anybody has any questions,
you got to send Gino's wife here a free case of it, though.
No free case. No. We'll split the difference, bro.
I'd love to. So
We'll put the discount in the show notes, but give it to me on the air also.
It's just Jake Gino. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Perfect.
We'll just call it 20% off the entire store. And just all not case sensitive, just Jake Gino. And yeah, your wife and you as well. Just whoever, I'm just really grateful to be on this side. I'm just
listen, you got hair gel yet?
I don't, but I'm working on that. It's tough but everything's tough, right? It's just.
No, we got to get my boy over here with the hair gel, man. I've been telling him, man, you got to get it slicked up for the show, man. Like,
yeah, no.
I'm still rocking the LA looks from the 90s, but shit, it works, all right?
Hey, that was my first one, LA looks. Seriously, I mean.
Dude, rock solid CVS, like 99 cents, man. You can't go wrong.
Exactly.
That's a blue collar hair gel for you, bro.
That's true. Now I'm working on a fiber and a pomade type deal right now. It's tough to get the pomade consistency. I'm using aloe vera gel and then some other little fine grained clays, but it's so like a fiber adding texture. I have it in right now. The whole point on what I'm working on right now is just to have something there but not look like it's there. Mm-hmm. So it's like a texturizing hair pomade clay type deal. But yeah, it's
guys, this stuff matters, okay? Because I put the LA looks in and my wife never says anything about it. I go to the barber, he cuts me, and he puts this Billy jealousy in, and she's all over me, right? So I'm just telling you, it makes a difference with the ladies, all right? Man, we are getting off the tracks on this show, huh? But anyways.
Look good, feel good, perform well. I mean, it's just, feel good. You're going to go into your day, exude the best energy, and you're probably going to execute. I really believe
That's right. I totally agree with that. Jake, wrap it up, bro. Anything left?
That's it. That's all I got for you guys. Appreciate the time.
Hey,
Andy, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.